He every once in a while he'll go back there to his personal safe and pull something out to to show me, and what he brought out really piqued my interest. So well, everybody is familiar with the Marlin 39A. That's been in production. I think it's the longest continually produced gun ever. 1937, I think, is the 1937 basically became the 39A, and they're still making it today, as far as I know. But this action is when you see it, you know it. Well, what he brought out is something that you don't see nearly as often, and that's the Marlin Model 20. This is a 20A. Really neat old rifle. Very, very thin. At the time, it was the lightest uh, repeater you could buy.
When
Big
was
old.
that gun made?
Well, it's really difficult to nail down a year. These do have serial numbers, but I was talking to Nibs over at Walnut and Steel today because he's got one as well. I wasn't able to find any solid numbers on that. So if anybody that's watching knows where I could find that information, I'd sure appreciate it. They came out in 1907 and they ran to 1922. Now I think in 1916 they kind of shut down the sporting arms division for the war. They had the Arsenal of Freedom deal going on, and they resumed in 21 and made it for another year. It's one interesting thing about that is the designer Lewis Hepburn
Yeah.
actually came over from Remington. That was that would have been 1881 at Marlin. They came out with the 1881 big bore 4570. Him and Andrew Burgess and I think Eli Whitney, maybe they had done some work with him before that. And then they came out with the 1891, which was the first repeating 22 rifle that could shoot short, long, and long rifle. And that's one thing that the Model 20 can do, is it can shoot all three. And I think we've talked about this before, where Remington had kind of their proprietary 22 cartridge for probably too long
Yeah.
before they jumped over to 22 long rifle. You could probably speak more on that than I can, but yeah, being able to shoot short, long, and long rifle was a pretty big deal back then, and really it kind of still is. There's there's not a whole bunch of rifles out there that do that because it's difficult to do, and so I've gotten to mess around with that a little bit. I took some pictures today, some close-ups for everybody, because you don't get to see
I'm getting close.
this rifle very often, and so my wife was kind enough to help me take some pictures to share with everybody. Let me get this up here. So it's got a nice crescent butt plate on it, metal butt plate. And if you want to find the serial number on these, there's two places. One is on this butt plate because the butt plate was matched.
Okay, I found this on the web for find a serial number on
Okay,
braces.
Siri. uh, the stock had to be fitted to that butt plate, so they serialized the butt plate, and then also under the tang, you will find a serial number. Now, this not being my rifle, I certainly didn't want to go digging into the tang, but I did ask him, do you mind if I put a screwdriver on this and find the serial number? And so we did. Really neat shaped buttstock there.
Yeah.
And this one is in really pretty good condition. Yeah, I just I did clean it up just a little bit. I hit it with some tack cloth just to get the dirt and grime off of it. But there you see 20A. I think there was like a 20S and maybe a 20L. I haven't completed my research on this. There is a good write up in Bill Ward's book, Walnut and Steel. Um, he's got two of these that I will grab to see what he has to say. There's a 1 and a 2. So if anybody's into these old rimfires, that's a pretty good resource. So yeah, I mean, just look at the fit and finish on this gun, George. Everything's tight and well machined. I would be interested to know how many were made. Um,
Yeah.
I just haven't seen a whole lot of information. On a gun like this, you kind of have to get into the forums and really dig around. But it was a takedown model.
Wow. Wow.
Isn't that nice?
Yes, that's nice.
It's crisp and still got a little bit of bluing on it. And it's got the screw adjustable sight there, so rather than having the ramp sight, you can really dial this thing in. So there you see 22 short, long, and long rifle. And back then, knurled hammer like that took some time.
Yeah.
That's what amazes me about these old firearms is that it took real craftsmen to make these, and they're beautiful. Just a beautiful piece of history. And then of course you see the same kind of action as what you see on the 39. And if you've ever had a 39 apart, it's amazing how simple it really is. I mean, there's a lot of complicated action from just a few parts. The four stock is held on just with those two screws on one side.
They're just on one side?
Yes.
Okay.
Now this one is a little bit different from the other ones I've seen. I guess some of them, the outside of the magazine tube would slide forward. On this one, the inside slides out, and there's a groove that runs all the way down. Just not sure on that. There you can see that nice crown.
Mm-hmm.
Few little nicks here and there. Now these came with either ivory bead or a brass bead, but I guess if you find one that still has it, you really got something. And of course the solid flat top, the Winchester ejected from the top. I believe that was the 06. They had one of those at the shop that was sure calling my name. If it had been all original, maybe I would have. But yeah, that was one of the neat things about these is that they were side eject. And they actually, I believe on this one, let's see, No, it was the 1891. It was a solid top, side eject, had a removable side plate, and the first year was a loading gate. They
Oh,
only they only made that for 1 year. So if you ever see an 1891 with the side loading gate, you probably want to buy it. And there's the trigger guard. And this is just a little hole on that magazine tube. So I'm not sure what it's for. And here it shows just how thin it is.
yeah, it is.
Remarkably thin. And I think it's about 4 pounds. So pretty light firearm. And it still has the bullseye, which is pretty neat. It may be a replacement. I don't know. But given the condition of the rest of the gun, I think it is probably.
I bet it's right. I
I
bet
think
it's
it, I think it probably is. And it doesn't look like the gun's been refinished to me. And here is the serial number that is on that butt plate, L488. Now, I know later Marlin used letters um, to determine what year it was made in, but I couldn't find records that far back that listed what letters they used for the year.
Is the stock serialized in the
No,
wood? It's not stamped anywhere?
no, the stock isn't. Mm-mm. There's just the two serial numbers, one on the butt plate and one underneath the top tang.
Big time.
Yeah, and I think I got a couple pictures of the bore here. Yeah, I got one on here, but the rifling looks pretty good. It was hard to get a picture of it. I don't have an actual bore light, so I was having a hard time getting the lighting and holding the camera just right. But it doesn't look like it's shot out.
No, no.
So yeah, I was really thankful to Brent over at Hard Cash Pawn. You guys can look them up on Facebook. It's Hard Cash Pawn, and they're in Eufaula, Oklahoma. So check them out. They can't put pictures of their firearms on Facebook, but I'm going to do another video on this gun, and when I do that, I'll put some pictures up of their shop. It's a neat old shop. I've been trading with them for, gosh, 20 years or better, and I bought and traded and sold with them, and I never have to worry about uh, price. I know they're going to be fair on price, and not there's not a lot of places that are like that. A lot of pawn shops they act like they don't want to sell anything, and so yeah, Hard Cash Pawn in Eufaula, Oklahoma. Check them out. And then I got a few pictures of that CZ up close, in case anybody wanted to see that. Let me pull those up. You ever shot one of those Marlin 20s, George?
No, no, I've never. No, I haven't.
I think you mentioned the other day that you have a 39 Mountie.
I do.
I
I got recently a good one.
Yeah, boy, I had one and it was nice, and it's just one of those times I had to trade it off. But that's definitely one I wish I had maybe
You can't.
traded something else off instead of that one.
You can't keep them all.